Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So this video is going to be interesting because today in this video we'll be talking about conditional as well as iteration. We'll see how to do like conditional things, how to use keywords like if, else, that stuff, and iteration like how to use for loop, how to use while loop, do while, what is the difference between for and while and do while, when should we go for the for iteration loop and when should we go for the while iteration loop, and similarly when should we do if, when should we do else, if, how to go for switch cases, everything. So all those things we are going to cover in this video. So without taking any cue, let's start. So this is the folder. Sorry. uh sorry. Let me shift. Okay, so we'll click on open in terminal. Let's import. That's it. Okay, so let's move this. Once again, create a new file. Let's call it tutorial v1 dot dot. Okay, this is tutorial v1 dot dot. Okay, so in this, now let's start. Okay, so as you all know, let's first of all we'll start with void main. That's it. So this is the starting of our code and the main function, which is like the entry gate for the execution process. The program will execute from this, it will compile from this point. Okay, so it has been started. Now, first of all, let's talk about why we need conditional statements. Okay, why don't we just use simple program as we were doing till now? What is the need of condition? So, so let's take an example. Like there's a condition, and even in real life cases, like so you want to take umbrella. So there's a condition like take umbrella if it rains today. Otherwise, don't take it. So there is a condition. So like if you are going for a club, so they say like if you are above 18 or 18, then come inside, join the club. And if you are below 18, then you are not allowed. Okay. Similarly, if you are above 18 or 18, you have the right to vote. And if you are below 18, then you don't have the right to vote. So this is how we're using condition. This is how where conditional statement are represented. And everything is like now digital. So most of the things, even when you're using an app, even if you're using Amazon app, if you are using Google Pay app, you're using you are using Myntra. So everyone using a conditional statement, everyone using a false statement, everyone is going for the iteration loop. So that's why we need this conditional as well as for it. Because even if there's like a high-end app, just like Amazon, so at the core level, they are doing these similar things. There is just the UI of like how this UI is looking. But at the backend part, at the very core, they are going for simple if statement. Like if you click on the buy option, then it will do this. If you don't click on buy option, then it will go for this one. So there's like a tree going on. If this, then this. If this, then that. Else do this. Okay. So why don't we start with a normal if statement? Okay. Let's say age. Age equals to 34. Okay. Now let's create a normal program like if you are like if just the comparing the values. Okay. So let's see if age, let's do this in bracket. Okay. Age is greater than 18. It's print. you are above 80. Okay. Sorry, you need to do inside this quotation mark. You're above 80. Okay. And other question, if age is less than 18, print below 18. It's normal code. Okay. Let's run this code. So as we all know, the output will be you are above 18. Okay. And the output is you are above 18. Easy stuff. Very easy stuff. So this is the conditional statement. How we are using this condition using if. Okay. Now instead of if, we can also write like else if, or we can just go else if. Okay. Else if age is less than 18, you are above 18. Okay. Let's change the age to 16. In this case, you are below 18. Easy stuff. Okay. But what about I do 18? But then it will print nothing. Program is executed, but there's nothing because either we have not provided any statement, any condition for the 18 year. We have only mentioned like if you're above 18, then print this. If you're below 18, then print this. But what can we do is we can do a normal else statement and say print you are 18. You are 18. Cool. Easy stuff, very easy stuff. And if you don't want to use else, do else if as it will be like if age is equals to 18. Okay. That is the comparison operator or these things that greater than, smaller than, and is equals to. But these are like what we call this comparison operators. Okay. You are 18. Easy, very easy stuff. You can see either there's so the writing code is a different thing. There is always a variation when you write the code. See, at the first time we were using if, then we changed it to else if. Similarly, and once again, rather than just using else, we are doing else if. Okay. And we can do one more thing like we can take input from the user itself. Okay. So there are various other things. You can even do else, and we go for if there's anything other than that, we'll print invalid. Okay. Invalid. Now, if you run this command, still it will print you are 18. But this is just a case. Like if what you can do is instead of here we use double, no not double, string, okay, and age, not sure, nothing. So yeah, it will say for string it is not possible. But not in this sense. Like if you take input from the users, okay, and it says like age is there, and it asks for your age, like we did in the past videos. Like we were using std in to take the read line. Okay, so when we take input, now instead of 18, the user gives anything else, like it writes something, like it gives a symbol in the input. Okay, then that case this part will be done. Okay, it will say invalid. Okay, this is how we use like if, else if. So for that part, else is fine. Okay, so we can do one more thing, like we can write other codes. Like let's do one thing. Once again, we'll go with int age is like, let's do the age is 17, right now. If age is greater than equal to 18. Okay, so before this we were doing like only greater than 18, less than 18. Now it's, if it's greater than n equal to 18, we will print you are eligible vote. Good. This will be done outside of the bracket because the range of if is like this. These two curly brackets, these two parents curly brackets, sorry. These two curly brackets is the range of this first if statement. Okay. Now if you are doing else if, then it will be done outside this. So these are the syntaxes that we usually have to follow. Okay. And if you are doing like you are writing the condition here, you're writing the statement here. So this will be done inside this parenthesis. So this is how we are going to do, guys, several things. And else, you are not only chicken. You go easy. You can see how easy it is. Okay, we'll run the program. We're not eligible to vote. Easy stuff. And similarly, if I'll do like something like this, what that? You're eligible to vote. So you can see how we are going to like compare the things. Okay, it's basics thing, but like still, it's interesting. Yeah, it's still interesting. So what we can do is, so there's a question when I was first learning programming languages a long time ago. So I was thinking like in the earlier cases we were just doing if, then we like shifted to else if, then we added else. And why is there a need for else if when we can do something like this? If instead of else, we'll do something like this. Okay, if age is less than 18, then this. Okay, we'll do like 17 once again. Result. I'm doing this again. You're not eligible to vote. See, the output is same, but why are we using else if? Why we used else? And why make it complicated using like else if once again and again and again? Okay, and why not? Why just don't go for if? Because there's a very good reason for that. Let me show you the reason for that. Let's let's change this. Okay, let's try with 90 a equals to 6. Okay, and let's run a command. If a is greater than 5, print print a. So dollar is like for getting the value. So when you are using inverted comma, so inside that you need to take the value of a. So a is greater than 5. Okay. And similarly, we can say that if a is greater than 4, symbolize print a is than 4. Easy thing. So it will print like a is greater than 6 is greater than 5 and 6 is greater than 4. See, these are the outputs. Okay, so these two conditions are like independent to each other. Okay, it is saying like number is greater than 5 and number is greater than 4. So these two are independent to each other. Now, what if we write else if? Okay, see, it only prints 6 is greater than 5. So like there's dependency, not actually dependency. What I wanted to say is like if you are using if and else if, so it only searches for one correct comparison. Okay, if the statement is same is like true in this case, it will print it, and then it won't go for next else, not next else if it won't go for it. When you are just using if, then if was doing like if this is done, print this. So once again it will go for the another if. Okay, if there was if in case of else if, in place of else if, then once again like in this case it would go for the second if also. Okay, but when we did if this statement was true, it won't search for, it won't even go for another statement. Okay, so like there is like time management. Okay, so once it is the statement is true here, it won't even go for this condition. Okay, so there is like benefits. Okay, so that's why we usually go for else. Like, and if there was something like this, say a is greater than 7, and let's do this thing. Okay, this 6 is greater than 4. Now it's not going for this statement because it's false. Now it is going for this statement. Cool. And if how to do the same if I just do if is greater than 4. Okay, when these two things are in not dependent to each other, then just go for if. Like a is greater than 7 and a is greater than 4. Just go for it, no issue. But when we use like else if, then it won't go for checking the next else condition, next condition. Okay. Now this is like I can say now the conditional part is done. You can also use like switch cases, just to switch and value here like two, do these things, and it's basically like the same condition. Like if switch A, then it will give like one condition, two condition. I don't want to go deep into that because most of the time we use if. But if you want to like look at switch condition more, then just search it on there. Okay, like and I can show you when switch condition and dot. These go for these for games. Hmm. So switch in case one. In expression, you just need to write like A. Case one. Case one. If value is one, then print this, print this. And at the end, you have to write break just to end the loop. Okay. So it's also like pretty easy. All these stuffs are pretty easy. Okay. Now time for, yeah, I'll say like comparison. Like we did if if we are going for iteration. Iteration. Okay. Now basically for iteration we have uh, keywords like for and while and do while. So first of all, instead of what we basically use, go for why. Why for do? Why iteration? So when there's a thing that it's repeating again and again and again and again. So instead of writing the code and again, you just write a for loop and it will do the part. I mean that's the same case for function also, but function is like overall like doing a magical thing. Okay, even in function we do the for loop because we need the logic. Okay, so for logic, even you do the for loop like individually, or if you go create a function and then do inside it, both of the things are same. There's not much difference. But we'll discuss about function in the next videos. Okay, so I would if like let's create a void then function. Okay, so now we are doing something like this. Hello world. Once again, I want to print it like 5 times. Hello world. Okay, hello world. Hello world. So see, I have to print it again and again and again. Like I have to type it again and again. So 6 times it says hello world. So the problem was that I had to like copy paste it. Even I had to type it again and again, like for 6 times. So I wanted like an automated thing. So what I want is like instead of wasting like 6 lines, I want to end it in a single line. Now, that is where this for loop, this iteration comes into the picture. Okay. Now, instead of doing this, so okay, it will also print hello world. Let's print hi world. So I'll do one thing for I equals to 0 or sorry, into I equals to 0. I is or less than 5. I plus. Okay. It's printed like 6 times. Okay. See, so now it is like taking 6 steps and it is only taking like one line. Okay, I mean you can also do the print here itself, right? The print statement here itself. Let's run this. See, you can see hello world 6 times and similarly hi world 6 times. Okay, so like this is called automation. Like instead of writing again and again, I'm just using a single step. Okay, so what is this? We are using an iterative loop. We are using a for loop. Okay, so this is called iteration. This is called like automation. How we are doing it in a single step. Okay, so what I did is I like assigned an integer. I declare an integer, and I'm declaring an initialization. Initialization means giving a value on at the same time, and then I'm saying it. So the first value of I is 0, and I'm saying to go for less than 6, go for less than 6, and every time we go, increase the value by 1. Okay, so it will go for like, sorry, it will firstly go for 0 value. Okay, So I is 0, and since it is 0, I'll say print I. Okay, then there is I plus plus. Now I plus plus is like I equal to I plus 1. So it's saying I plus plus is like short form for I equals to I plus 1. So it is saying for the next loop, it will go above. So it will go above, yeah. So now it's like now the value of I is 0 plus 1. That will be I is now 1. Okay, because its value has been increased. 1, since I is 1, it's say print I will. Similarly, if now I equals to I plus 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 is there. Now it will say I will. Similarly, 3, I will. 4, I will. Now 5 I's value is 5. I is less than 6. Yes, it is 6. It say print I world. And since it prints, it says I plus plus. Now the value of I is 6. So here's the condition is I equals 0. It is saying the value of I will go from 0, and it will go through like when the value is less than 6. For 5 it was printing, now its value is 6. Okay. 6 it will say, oh, now the value of 6 is less than 6. This statement, this condition is false. So now it will break the loop. Okay, that's why it's printing like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 0 is itself is 1. Okay, because zero's value is 0 is there, but it will print high world for the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, only these things. So instead of writing it again and again, I am doing this. Cool. And if you wanted to like use, if this is complicated, then just go for this lab. Like you can go int I equals to 0, and you can say for I, comma I is less than 6, I plus plus. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, stick with it. Okay. So we'll say, okay, once again, the output will be same. I world is 6 times because we already assigned the value here only. Okay. And at the first time we were doing like I equals to 0, we were assigning the value here only. And while inside the loop. Okay, so there are different methods of typing. And if you didn't want to do this, I equals to 0. This will also print the same thing. See, I went 5, 6 times. This is how like for loop works. Okay, not much of a big thing. They're like different way of writing the code. And the logic is completely same, but the way of writing code. Like if you didn't wanted to do this, here's one more way like for int I equals to 1. Now instead of 0, we are doing 1. And I is, let's say, what can we do here? Less than, since we want to print it to like 6 times, so we'll do this 7 plus plus 20. Okay, let's also comment this line also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times. Okay, once again, we are just changing the value. And once again, if you don't want to do this, you don't want to do 7, just to keep things simple, like, so you want like 1 to 6 times. Okay, now instead of doing complicated like 0 to 5 and 1 to 7, why don't we do only 1 to 6? because we want to keep it simple. We just do it 6 less than equal to 6. So it will go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Earlier when we were doing like less than, it was not going for the exact value, like for the 6 it was going value less than 6, which is 5. Now to keep things simple, because I'm just saying if someone is new, then he might get like confused in the values itself. Okay, it will be confused. Okay, I'll have to remember like when it is 0, then we have to go for 5. When it is 1, I have to go for plus 1. That is, if you want to print it 6 times, then we go for 7. 7. Now let's just keep it simple. I want to print it 6 times, then go for I equals to 1, y is less than equal to 6. Okay, the output will be same 6 times. And even if someone is familiar with C or C++, the syntax is completely same, over 100% same in this. For even with std, std in, std out, and even with while. So this was the if else, or even if else is also same. This is using for loop. Now is the time for while loop. Okay. Now while is also for iteration. Not much big of a deal. We can do the same thing like while. Let's create a value first. Int was 0. Okay, or just give it 1. When I is less than equal to 6. Okay. So now let's analyze the piece of code. Okay. So first of all, we have assigned the value 1 to I. I is a variable. Int is a data type. And we are going for while. While I is less than 6, print hi world. So I is less than 6, yes. So the statement is true. Then it will print hi world. Now this will create an infinite loop because I is less than equal to 6, and it will go for forever. Like forever, it will say I is less than 6, I is less than 6. So we need to print hi world. Let's just run this. So it's going for infinite loop. It's not stopping even. We'll have to type Control C for stopping it. So you can see how many times I word was written. Okay, because the statement is true and it will go forever until it reaches moon. Okay, like India did recently. Until it reaches to moon, it will print I world, I world, I world, I world, I world. But our main focus was only 6 times. So I'll say I plus plus. Okay. Or let's keep it simple. I equal to I plus 1. Similarly like this, I plus plus. I told you that I plus plus means I equals to I plus 1. Or even you can do something like this. Something like this, like uh, I plus equals to 1. This is also the same thing. Okay. Now let's see how many times it runs. See, 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. See how we change a piece of code. Writing code is very easy. Like I equals to 1. First we did for the for loop. I equals to 1. I is less than equals to 6. We are using the same logic here also. But there's difference. Like instead of for, we are using while. Now similarly about the do while. Okay. Now let's say what if the value was 7? If the value was 7, it was saying while I is less than equals to 6. Now check, is 7 is less than equals to 6? No way, it's completely false. So it won't create a single loop. It will just end the program. Done. Program is ended. There's no print. Okay. Now what do while will does? Okay, all right. And the I equals to 7 once again. Now what do will does, if we say, if we say like, we will say print, print I1. Okay, print I1. And you say while is I is, what was the condition again? I is less than or equals to 6. So when we are just doing this part, okay, I equals to 7, and when we're doing I is less than or equals to 6, then it's completely false. Okay. Although we are doing something like this, I is, this statement is completely false. So it won't print a single thing. Now when we did do, and do we did like inside do we are writing print I word. We were saying do it and check it while I is less than or equals to 6. Okay. So it will print I word only for the single time. So in do while condition, not single like for the single case, like when we were writing only while. So at that time there was no response, there was no printing, but do will go for the first time. Even if the condition is wrong, it will still go for the whatever the statement is. So right now the statement is print I word. So for single time it is going because do is first of all. So do will this, then it will check the condition. So I is less than equal to 6. Okay, this condition false. Now no need to go to the do condition again. Okay. But first time it will run this thing. Okay. And now we can do what we can do is for I is 1, just printing high word. Okay, it is going for infinite once again. Okay. So we'll have to control this controls because condition is true. Okay. So what we can do is like we can even create here only like I equals to plus plus plus. How you do I equal to I plus 1. Okay. But now this time let's see how many times it prints. Control S. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again it's printing for 6 times. Okay. So this is like even when we are doing while or do while, the main difference is like for do it will go for the print process. No matter what, whether the condition is true or false, for the first time it will go. Okay, so that is the main difference between do, while, and for. And most of the time we don't use do while. Nobody does because the main most of the time mainly the task is check for the loop, check for the condition, and we don't usually see the point of using do while. Yeah, because if there is like print this 6 times, then we definitely go for the while, definitely go for the for. Okay, because that's why we don't usually see do. Because what do we have the work of like print this and then check the condition? That's fine. We don't usually do this. Now you might say or you might think for and while are doing the same job. There's not much difference between them. Then why there is like two different things? Okay. Both are perform the same thing. They are printing both of the things are printing the same thing, like I will for the 6 times. Yeah, high world for the 6 time. Even for when we are using for, it was printing high world for 6 times. Even when we are using while, it is printing the same thing for 6 times. Then why do we need these two different things? Okay, why we are needing them? So yeah, and like when I was at the starting of my journey, when I was learning a programming languages, I started with C. Started with Python. And I went for C, C++. And once you are like good with a programming language, then uh, learning a new programming language is easy, not much big of a deal. Okay. So now what's the difference between for and while loop? And when should we go for or when should we go for while, right? So at this case, when I had an idea like I want to print it for the six times. I know the exact number, how many times I want. I want exactly six times. Okay. Then at that time, I'll go for the for loop because exactly the point I know. I know my length is seven, so I'll go for the seven times. I'll go for the printing seven times. Now I know the exact number what I want to go for. Now what the problem with while or what the thing is with while when there is more like a what can we call more like a condition. Okay, when we don't know the exact number how many times we want to print it. Okay, so there's a condition. Okay, sometimes we'll say if there's a condition if uh, if I is less than six, then print it. So we are basically focusing more on this condition part. Okay, but for loop, when we have an idea about the exact term, we want to like we have an order like print it seven times, print it eight times, right? But while we have condition mode, okay, what we can say like we can say print high world if I is greater than six, or if I is like greater than something else. Okay, there's a condition. Instead of I plus one, we can also do I plus two. That's it's so three times. So we don't know the exact amount, but we can say like there's a condition. Like if and only if I is greater than six or equal to six, then print it. So and while and this is like the normal comparison, normal condition. And when you talk about like big programs, then there's like more complex condition. If this and if that thing happens, if this thing happens, if and operator is there is or operator is there. Okay. So at that time we use go for like the while loop. Okay. And one thing I missed using this operator like this int I is that it says 50 if I is less less than less than what can you say 18 and I is greater than 14 I you are 4 or you can write anything. So what it says like if I is greater than 18 and I is less than 18 and at the same time I is less than greater than 14, then print this control S. You are a boy. Okay. So now what we can say is if we have 16 here, once again, okay, I is greater than 14, I is less than. What if we do 13? So it doesn't print anything. Okay. But why? This statement is true. I is less than that, less than 18. 13 is less than 18. So it should have printed. But we have the and operator. Okay. So it says your I should be, along with I should be less than 18. Along with that, I should be greater than 40. Okay. So now there are two conditions that both the condition needs to be true. So this condition is true and this condition is false. Then it will go for the false. This is false. It won't print anything. What will go for like or like whether you are greater than 18 or if you are greater than, whether if you are like less than 18 or if you are greater than 14, then just print it. Okay. Now, yes, now you can say it prints. For the AND operator, it was not printing anything, but this OR operator, it is printing. So OR is basically like if this or this. If any of the condition between these two, these conditions are true, then go for it. Okay. So these are like how how we compare two things. Okay. So what we covered in this video, we covered else if, iteration, for, while, and do while, when we should use for, and similarly when we should why. Okay. And also like comparison operator and or bitwise operator, all these things. And or okay. These are the things that we did in this video. So that was it for this video. In the next video, we'll basically talk about functions and how to call a function, what are the parameters, arguments, and all those things. Okay, so that was it for today's video. See you again in the next video. Thanks.